Hi, I'm Father Jim Forson, and I'd like to share with you a few reflections on the Gospel of the 28th Sunday in Ordinary Time. One of the things that I always have such difficulty with as a priest on Sunday is when I see somebody dressed in a way that isn't quite appropriate for church on Sunday, and I never know what to say or if I should say anything. Do I go to them and say, friend, the way you're dressed isn't quite good for church? Because if I do, well, they might get offended and then not come to church anymore. And wouldn't it be better just to say nothing? So, I mean, at least they're there at Mass, and just don't say anything to them at all. And I'm caught in a dilemma. I never know what to do. And I'm not talking about the simple decisions to make. I mean, I used to work in Venice at St. Mark's Church, which was right off the beach, and people would come for the Sunday evening Mass. And I'm not kidding, we used to sweep sand out of the pew. And it was easy to say to some of the people in that crowd, hey, whoa, 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 no bikini tops at church, all right? And to the guys, no tank tops and forget the Speedos. Ugh. Stuff was easy to call. But I'm talking about those other ones kind of right on the edge, and you don't know what exactly to do. It's a dilemma. And it's similar to what we hear about in the gospel today, where Jesus tells the parable about a king who's giving a wonderful wedding feast for his son. And he sends out his servants to all of the invited guests to come to the wedding feast, and those guests snub him. They don't want to go. How rude. Well, he is going to have a wedding feast for his son, so he tells his servants, go out into the highways and byways and bring anybody you find. I want my wedding hall to be filled with people. And so they do, and so it is. Now, at a wedding in those times, when people would come, everyone would wear a simple white wedding garment. And if they didn't have one was provided for them at the door. And the reason for that is, with everyone wearing that simple white wedding garment, no one really knew anybody else's position in society or their rank, and then people could mingle freely. So the king came out, and here's the wedding hall filled with people, but one guy wasn't wearing a white robe, just wearing his regular clothes. And the king came up to him and said, my friend, how is it you're not appropriately dressed? Now, we're not talking about some poor man who just had what he had and couldn't afford anything. No, he could have worn a robe that would have been provided for him. He just didn't want to. He was snubbing that king just like all those previously invited guests were. And the king was going to have none of it. And he said to his servants, take that guy and tie him up and throw him out. How dare he come to this wedding feast, just thinking he could come wherever, wearing whatever he wanted. So rude, throw him out. So, how on Sunday, when I come to Mass, am I dressed? And I'm not talking about my body, clothing. I'm talking about, how do I dress my heart? My soul, how is it dressed? I come to Mass on Sunday, I come into church and I sit down in the pew, and on the way to church, somebody cut me off in their car. And I thought, what a terrible driver. It's probably an Asian. You know how Asians, they're all terrible drivers. And, it wasn't an Asian. It was a woman. Well, they're just as bad as the Asians. They're all terrible drivers. And we come and sit down in the pew, and I'm mad about it. And imagine God, the King, comes to me and says, my friend, how is it that you are so inappropriately dressed with all of that bigotry and all of that anger? What do we say? Or I come into church, I sit down, I look ahead of me, and I see this couple, and I say, whoa, is that a gay couple? I don't want them here in this church. No, that's not good. And wait, look at all those Mexicans talking Spanish. They shouldn't be here in this country in the first place. Or if they're going to be, they ought to learn how to speak English, for crying out loud. I don't want this church filled with all those kind of people either. Or, look at that. Those Democrats. She's a Democrat. They're idiots. I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know why they ever vote the way they do. Or look at those Trumpers over there. Those Trumpists, the people who vote for Trump are morons. Imagine the King comes to us and says, My friend, how is it you come here to this banquet in honor of my son Jesus, so inappropriately dressed with all of your prejudice and your bigotry and your bias and your venom? And we say, what? Well, what we must pray for is that same spirit that so motivated the king that he wanted everybody here at this banquet. He sent out his servants to gather everyone, so long as they were appropriately dressed. And so when the king would come and ask me why I wasn't quite dressed right, hopefully what I would say to him is, have mercy, Lord, have mercy. Hopefully what I would say to him is, I confess to Almighty God and to you, my brothers and sisters. So we come to Mass. What do we wear? Well, we put on the garment that is called, have mercy on me, Lord, for I have sinned. We come to Mass and we put on the garment that is called, may I be as gracious, God, as you are, who sent out your servants and brought everyone into the feast. Everyone is welcome here. When I come to Mass and I sit down, I call out to God and say, God, may I put on the garment of mercy and understanding and compassion. Or to put it best, as St. Paul wrote in his letter to the Colossians, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly beloved, clothe yourself with Jesus Christ. Clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive whatever grievances you may have against one another. Forgive as the Lord has forgiven you. And over all of these virtues, clothe yourself with love. That's the way one comes appropriately dressed for the banquet in honor of Jesus Christ, our Sunday Mass. So, what are you going to wear to Mass this Sunday?